Tanya, Noor's mom. So today I'm going to be speaking to you all about preschool or play school and what you should look for while selecting one for your child. So what is preschool or play school? So there is a lot of confusion around this because different schools have different terminologies for it. Some call it preschool, some call it play school, some call it play group, toddler group. So just clearing it out here. So anything below nursery is called preschool or play school. It is as simple as that. Now preschool or play school is not mandatory education. It is not mandatory for you to send your child to it. You can directly also send your child to nursery when she meets that age criteria. And also there are no boards or anything involved. There is no CBSE, ICSE, IB board in preschool or play school education. Play school or preschools are based on methodologies or curriculums. So there is Montessori, which is inspired by Maria Montessori, focusing on independence of child. There is Playway, which is learning through play. Then there is Waldorf method, Reggio Emilia method, lots of methods. But mostly nowadays you will hardly find preschools or play schools that are focused on only one approach. Usually they have a combination of one or two or even more approaches. What are the age requirements for preschool or play school? So it can be anywhere from 18 months to 3 years. Once again, depends on the school. Some schools even take kids as small as 15 months. The school duration hours range anywhere from 1 to 3 hours, and the admission process usually starts in April. Then there's one batch in July that schools take, and some schools also take admissions throughout the year because, like I said, it is not a very mandatory education. It is just for a good social exposure and learning exposure. So some schools even take it anytime during the year. Now, is sending your child to a play school or a preschool important? Yes. So according to me, it is very, very important because the age group from 2 to 5 years is very important for your child's brain development. So 90% of brain is developed by 5 years and 80% is developed by 3 years. So this preschool education can actually become a foundation of your child's overall growth and development. It is great for their physical, cognitive, their emotional development and social development. So social interaction is, I think, one of the biggest reasons why parents send their children to play school, because when they go to play school, they learn how to talk to others, behave with others, how to play with other kids, how to share, and how to spend time without known faces or their parents. So I'm going to be sharing my list of factors that I used, and it might not be an exhaustive list, but this is what I wanted. So the number one was an offline school. I did not want to send Noor to an online play school or preschool because number one, it unnecessarily increases the child's screen time. Number two, the child is actually never focused and he will never sit in front of the screen and do activities. And third, the whole reason or the primary purpose behind a play school or preschool is social interaction, and when there is no social interaction happening, there's no point. So number one criteria was it should be an offline school. Second factor is location or distance. So this is very important, and I feel this is one of the most important factors that you should consider while selecting a preschool. So look for a school that is closer to your house, somewhere in the radius of 1 to 3 kilometers, and I would not send my child beyond 5 kilometers. The reason being, traveling can really exhaust the child. So when the child goes to preschool or play school, it can really tire them out, and then that followed by a lot of traveling can further make them fussy, cranky and exhausted, and you don't want that because that kind of impacts how their entire day will go. Whether they'll eat lunch or not, whether they'll have their nap or not, all of it will depend on that. Also, when there's an emergency, the child is not well or you need to pick up the child, you don't want to travel a long way just to get your child. Your child needs to be accessible to you. And third, in this age group 2 to 3 years, children do take one nap during the day, which happens somewhere around 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock. And if the child is spending that time in his car traveling, he might get overtired and he might not be able to sleep when he comes home. Or he might end up sleeping in the car itself, and he wakes up, say 45 minutes when he reaches home, and then he does not complete his full nap because now he's woken, he's fresh, but in reality he has actually not finished his entire nap, which is usually 2 hours long at this age. So that kind of impacts their entire day. They're not well rested, they're always fussy, cranky. So you don't want that to happen. You want a school that is near your house so that you can reach your home within 10 to 15 minutes, and then your child can go down for a nap, complete his full nap, or even have his lunch in peace. Number 3 are the school timings and the school duration. So look for a school which is obviously in the morning hours, because mornings are the most productive time of the day, and even for later on when the child goes to formal school, he'll get into a habit of it. And the school hours should not exceed 3 hours as per me, because at that age children are small, and even 3 hours is a lot for them to be away from their parents, their mom, dad, whoever, their familiar surroundings, and this much time of learning and activity is sufficient at that age group. Fourth, the school vibe and environment. So this was also very, very important for me. I visited a lot of schools, and what I was looking for was that when I enter a school, it should look like a school, right? It should be bright, beautiful, appealing to the child. It should have those facilities, those toys, chart papers all around. The vibe should be very, very warm, welcoming, and very childlike. So I did see, a few schools which look more like daycare centers. So I'm sure all of you know I have a playroom for Noor in my house, which is a room with a bookshelf and some toys and a mat. So a lot of schools also had a similar setting. Like they just had 2 rooms with a mat and some toys and books, and that was it. So I didn't want that. I wanted a feeling, I wanted an environment that looked like a school, so that when my child goes to formal school, she doesn't kind of not adjust to it very well. Next, curriculum. So curriculum is also an important factor while you select a preschool for your child. So like I said, different schools usually have a mix of lots of methodologies like Playway, Montessori. What was important for me was that a school focus on 5 things. So number 1, it should have a lot of outdoor play, because outdoor play is one of the best ways to teach your child. Nature teaches children in so many ways we can't even think. Second was learning through play. So I wanted a school where the child learns through activities and playing, and it should not have a very classroom kind of teaching. Third, free play. There should also be a lot of free play in the school, where children are left on their own to explore and play with things their own way, because that really helps in boosting creativity. Fourth, it should also focus on academics. So the school should not only be about fun and outdoor and just playing, but also focus on a little academics, so that the child is prepared when he goes to school, like teaching them colors, shapes, animals, fruits, vegetables, body parts. So the child should know the basics at least. And lastly, I do not want a school which gives homework or exams, because at that age this is not what is required, and we don't want our children to get into the rut of rote learning or memory learning. Next, the school facilities. So school facilities were also very, very important for me while deciding a school for my daughter. So I wanted something which, like I said, has a lot of child-friendly material. So good surroundings, childlike surroundings, a lot of toys, books, learning material, outdoor facilities. So outdoor facilities were the make and break for me. So I wanted a school which has outdoor facilities, which has a large garden where children can explore nature, a large area where children can play, run around, a sand pit in the open, which is great for sensory play, then an area which had swings and a slide, just for recreation. So this was also very important for me. A sand pit, outdoor area, child-friendly classrooms, child-friendly furniture, small child-sized chairs and tables, bookshelves and toy shelves should be at the eye level of the child, good, well-decorated classrooms. So yeah, these are the facilities that I would look for. Next, safety. So safety was another very, very important factor that you should consider, and I consider. So when I say safety, the school should be such that it should be baby-proof, child-proof. There should be no sharp corners, edges anywhere. There should be anti-skid mats, anti-skid stairs, anti-skid tiles. Then along the staircase there should be railing, a lower railing to support those small children, and if the school is on different floors, there should be a gate, near the staircase, so that the child cannot use the staircase without any supervision. Then in terms of safety, CCTV coverage footage is also very, very important. So there are some schools that give the parents CCTV access. While there are some schools that do have CCTV access, but they don't give it to parents. So for me, some CCTV monitoring was important. I did not want access for myself. Why? The reason being is that when the parent has access to your child 24/7, it's somewhere resembles a daycare and not a school. Because if you see your child doing something which you don't want him to do, or he's fallen down, you panic and you suddenly call up the teacher or the principal that you go to my child, do this, do that. So that kind of also disturbs the teacher, his attention, her attention, and the teachers also become very, very conscious. So a school which has CCTV coverage was a good reason for me to choose it. I did not want personally CCTV access because that would make me more kind of stressed and anxious of what was happening in school. So another thing that I looked for in the school safety was that do they have a procedure to ensure who's picking up and dropping the child. So look for a school that requires some gate pass, some ID card while picking up and dropping the child. Even if you're the mother or the father, they should have an ID card that only upon showing that will they give you the child, otherwise they won't, because in today's day and age you never know what happens when, right? Next, cleanliness. So it's very important to see that the school is clean, neat, tidy, the classrooms are clean, the toy the play mats, all the toy shelves, toys are regularly cleaned. Check with the school. Then go and have a look at the toilets, whether they are clean, they are not stinking. There are basically it should look fresh, the school, and not something which has those deposited dirt or mud in places and old toys. So for me, cleanliness was also very, very important. Next, student teacher ratio. So look for a school that has student teacher ratio 1:5 or 7. So 1 teacher to 5 to 7 students, and 1 to 2 helps. So you don't want your child to go into a school where there are a lot of students and just one teacher around, because the child is small, he still needs supervision. And 5 to 7 students with one teacher and one help or 2 helps, which we also call didis or ayas, is a good number for your child to be safe and secure. Next, so if your child is not potty trained or he doesn't know how to eat himself, feed himself, then do ask the school if they do provide help in this. Most schools, so 95% schools provide this facility, that if your child is not potty trained, they help in cleaning the diapers, etc. And there are didis or ayas that help in feeding the child if he cannot eat himself. So this happens in most areas, but it is always good to check if your child cannot go to the toilet himself or eat himself. Next, medical room or infirmary. So another important factor is that the school should have a medical room, a first aid kit, an infirmary, a doctor on site, so that if any mishap happens or the child is not well, immediate care can be taken. And the last factor that I would say is the budget or the cost. So this is a very, very relative kind of factor. It is subjective. It depends from family to family, of how much you want to spend on your child's preschool education. Some parents might want to just spend something around 5 to 10,000 a month. Some might be okay spending even 35 to 40,000 a month. So yes, there are different kinds of schools with all kinds of fee structures. So look for something which gives your family satisfaction and that is very comfortable for your family to afford, while keeping in mind all the factors that you want for your child, like the safety, facilities, etc. But please don't feel that a school whose fees is 35,000 or 40,000 per month might not be as good as a school whose fees is 10,000. That's not the case at all. So please don't compare. But yeah, cost should also be a factor while considering a school, depending upon your budget. This is all what helped me select a preschool for Noor. So take care. Thank you. Bye bye.